Hey everyone, welcome to Malt Music Whiskey Reviews. I'm Eric. On the bar for today, single malt scotch from Islay, Laphroaig, 10 years old, cask strength, batch number 16. As always, no taste finish review of this whiskey coming at you shortly. I'll chat a bit about the value, give me final thoughts, final score, leave you with a malt musing, pop. But first, if you haven't, take a sec, smash that sub button. If you are enjoying these videos, even if this is your first one, I'll make sure you get to check out a few more. Of course, keep you in tune and updated on any live streams I have coming up. Okay. Laphroaig, one of the big names in Scotch whiskey and one of the heavy peated whiskeys coming from the island of Islay. This one here is the latest release of their 10-year-old cask strength line. This is batch number 16. Here's what it has to say, just to give you the tail of the tape. So this was bottled in December 2022. We will talk a little bit about that in my final thoughts. But this one did just come out, I think, late 2023, early 2024 here in the United States. If you read a bunch of the print on the back, this does tell you that it is non-chill filtered and barrier filtered only. So just removing some of the big pieces that might be in that distillate. They are not chill filtering, so good news there. This is bottled at 58.5%, so of course coming in with a high ABV. Here's the tube, very similar look they've had for the last couple of years. It does not say anything about color or not, so we can probably assume maybe that they've added some color, but who knows. Here is what that color looks like, by the way. All right. So, Laphroaig 10 cask strength, batch 16. Let's check out this nose. So right away, you know this is a Laphroaig because it has that medicinal, Band-Aid-like, intense antiseptic iodine note. Very, very intense coming from that peat smoke. You also get some of the sweeter side of that, which is coming in a vanilla. I believe these are all just ex-bourbon casks, similar to the original Laphroaig 10. It's got an herbaceous quality to it, but very rough, intense, oaky, with just a bit of sweetness, a little bit of citric sweet coming in too. But for all intents and purposes, by the numbers, high ABV, Laphroaig 10-year-old turned up to 11. I am getting a faint kind of cookie dough note, which is quite interesting and rather pleasant. Butteriness. But really, you are looking at a peat smoke forward, intense, earthy, oaky, punch in the face type of whiskey. Let's give it a taste. Cilantro. From the nose to the mouth, no surprises here. It arrives intensely bourbon cask sweet, candied a little bit, vanilla toffee, hints of lemon and orange, and then you are just walloped with the smokiness and the intensity of the peat on the palate. It's drying, it's oaky, it is very smoky, ash. You get that antiseptic kind of dentist office note. Again, a little bit this kind of slightly sugar cookie note, which is quite interesting. A little bit of fruit notes. There's some apricot, some kind of almost light orange in the background there. The finish is quite dry, hints of very dark baking chocolate and oak. Medium finish on this. Let's do one more sip here, neat. Yeah. Wow, that is intense. As they always are. We're gonna put some water on this. I'm gonna do like 5 drops here, just to see what else we can coax out of this rather tight whiskey. It's not showing all it has to offer very readily. And that is with oxygen doing about, a little bit over the half the bottle here. So you can tell I put some time into this. Here we are with water. Okay, so more of that herbal note now. It's sweetened up. It's got a bit more expansive. I'm almost getting some faint kind of flowery notes. Again, bitter parsley, smoked fish slightly, a lot of peat, a lot of oak, charred, burnt oak. Sweet and spicy. More measured on the arrival. Apple, getting more of the fruit notes kind of hopping through here. Boy, that peat intensity, though, still everything you would expect and more on the palate. Drying. It's just almost overwhelmingly intense, even with the water. Still pretty drying on the finish. Not a lot of surprises here. I am still getting a little bit of this kind of buttered, it's like buttered toast, as funny as that sounds. It's just that slight char and that slight kind of creamy sweetness. It's salty. All in all, the water has definitely brought a little bit more of the fruit notes out of this forward, but nothing extreme. There's a nice heavy cinnamon note kind of working, not candied cinnamon. We're talking regular cinnamon working on the back end here a bit. Okay. Laphroaig 10 cask strength. This is not exactly a whiskey that is difficult to get your hands on, although I will say this one sure took its time showing up here in the US. That said, you should be able to find these or other batches pretty readily at most decent liquor stores here in the US. And if you do, your price range is going to be around $85 to $90 average. You may see it a little bit more, sometimes a tick less. I'm going to say that is a high value, medium high value. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that is the case here in final thoughts. So final thoughts here on the Laphroaig 10 cask strength batch 16. First, I want to start with the positives. Laphroaig 10 cask strength, I think, has been one of the consistent releases from Laphroaig that I've always went to. If you look back on my top 5 Laphroaig whiskeys that you can get your hands on, you can check out where this ranked, but it has always been a favorite of mine. However, the last couple of releases over the past few years have made me start to just kind of walk back my excitement a little bit. Everything after about batch 12, I would say. Batch 10 was really, I think, the last standout one. But particularly batch 13, 14, 15, and 16. Well, 13 I thought was pretty solid. 14 I couldn't have been more disappointed in for a Laphroaig 10 cask strength. 15 was fine. This one's also fine. And what I mean by that is it feels to me like, and I don't want to really become one of these people who talks about how great whiskey used to be, but this wasn't that long ago. I mean, we're talking 4 years, 5 years. I feel like these whiskeys had a little bit more character with each release and just brought a little bit more complexity. You could really tease out some interesting notes in those. Some of them you could swear that they had a sherry cask involved in them. These last couple releases to me have been very by the numbers, bourbon cask driven, maybe not even the best casks, over oaked in a way. Just the oak notes are so much more prominent. They've always been a big component of this whiskey, but more prominent than I recall. And the fact that this, it took so long for it to come out, it's for quite a while, they would do like one a year. And then I want to say with batch 13 and 14, they released 2 in the same year here in the States, and both of them came out within like 3 months of each other, which had me thinking maybe that they were going to be going for more releases of this year, which could explain the dip in quality. Then 15 showed up and then it was, I think, over a year or so, or over almost a year and a half before the 16 arrived here. So it's irregular schedule. Maybe they don't quite know what they want to do with this line. Maybe they were experimenting with stuff. Maybe they just had extra batches for some reason. I don't know. But in any event, I do feel like these whiskeys have taken a step back in recent years. And as it comes to this 16, it shows this is a by all means solid whiskey at a good value. Okay. But for folks who have been drinking these for a while, I feel like you're going to be left wanting a little bit, and I am as well. Once again, here with this batch 16. So, look, all things considered, I'll be real talk with you. I mean, this is still one of the best heavily peated, affordable-ish whiskeys that you can get your hands on. Much better than the regular Laphroaig 10. I think this is still probably the top Laphroaig to get. However, I am becoming increasingly more hesitant about chasing these new batches, and instead may opt for some of the older ones that I can get my hands on that I have enjoyed much more. So all of that being said, my final score here on the Laphroaig 10 Cask Strength Batch 16 is going to be a 3.5 out of 5, which means, you know, I definitely recommend you try this. And if you enjoy it, definitely get a bottle. It's not, you're not going to be disappointed necessarily with this, but if you have been drinking these batches for a while, I think you're going to be once again left a bit wanting. So my score is going to reflect that. And as much as I'm trying to be fair and balanced here, I also want to make sure that I'm extending that fairness to, you know, newer folks as well, as who may be just getting into this, as opposed to someone who's been drinking a lot of these. So this is an above average score. 3 is an average here. So yeah, I would say this is a 3.5, so in that 85, you know, by that scale. So there you go. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you had the new Laphroaig 10 Cask Strength Batch 16? Do you have opinions on some of the latest releases from them and the direction that these whiskeys may be going in? We'd love to hear about it in the comments. And of course, again, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss any more of these reviews. I'll have another one coming your way soon. Slàinte mhath, y'all.